All right, welcome to the Sharp Mind Show, episode 34. I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD, your host. Make sure you shop at InstaSale.com and pick you up a cool, inspirational t-shirt today. All right, so I'm scrolling through TikTok and I run across a woman saying, you know, we gotta find Christina Aguilera's surgeon. We gotta figure out who this person was. And I'm like, what do you mean? You gotta find her surgeon. But Christina Aguilera loses 40 pounds, right? And she does this, I guess, glamour shoot with glamour, and it's very evident that she's basically, almost back to her pre-baby weight, but she loses 40 pounds, right? So, but this lady is basically suggesting that, some surgeon did this to her, or, that she's taking Ozempic or, whatever. When it comes to find out that Christina Aguilera just worked with her, right? And, it's very interesting to me that people can't believe, nowadays that a celebrity would just work really hard and get their pre-baby body back, right? So in researching this, Christina Aguilera used what's called the rainbow diet. So never heard it called this, but it's basically you just eat fruits and vegetables, right, of different colors. Like I said, I hadn't heard it called the rainbow diet before, but it's called the rainbow diet now. And then obviously she did strength training, right? Interval, high intensity cardio, right? HIIT cardio, right? And then after she did the rainbow diet, she obviously shifted back to just eating clean whole foods and that kind of thing, right? But she basically, stayed at 1,600 calories, over a long period of time. So, and I didn't do the math on this. I should have before I started. But basically, 1,600 calories is going to be, half a pound to a pound a week. You do it for 40 weeks. You end up with 40-pound weight loss, right? So, but that's really what I wanted to say about it. I wanted to say, if you're a regular person out there and you see a celebrity lose a bunch of weight or, improve themselves to a high degree, right? You have to realize that it's not just you're not just taking pills. You're not just like most people say, steroids for males. It's actually hard work, right? They get in the gym, they work out, they eat right. If you don't know how to do that, I offer a free workout and nutrition guide, right, in the description. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, feel free, right, to pick that up. But, it's very easy to get comfortable out there. But just because somebody makes a big transformation doesn't mean they had to have a surgeon or had to have pills to do it, right? So, just my opinion on this. Like I say, I wouldn't say that, she doesn't have lip fillers or Botox, stuff like that. But as far as weight loss, I don't think she doesn't look. The weight loss to me doesn't look like a Ozempic weight loss, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is it just a cop out that regular people, is it a cop out that regular people automatically say it's got to be a surgeon or it's got to be Ozempic, right? If a celebrity loses weight, right? So let me know what you guys think. This episode is brought to you by my wife's children's book, which is London and the Googly Goo, which is available on Amazon. If you have nieces, nephews, or children of your own, be sure to check out the book, London and the Googly Goo, for a great moral. Um, and if you'd like it in a PDF copy, it's also available in the description below for a little bit cheaper than if you got the hard copy. But for children's book, most of us want the hard copy. So check that out on Amazon. We do appreciate your support. All right, so it's the weekend. What do we do on the weekends? We make our money on the weekends, right? So we're going to talk about the stock Rumble. Rumbling and tumbling. Rumble. Rumble jumps 16%. Like, oh my God, Rumble. What is Rumble? Rumble, I started hearing about Rumble when they kicked off Steve Will Do It from YouTube. And basically, Rumble is basically an alternative to YouTube, right? It's a free video streaming platform. But I found when I used it that if you didn't already have an audience to bring over to Rumble, you basically weren't going to grow an audience with Rumble. Rumble did not, so when I post on YouTube and I post on Instagram, they'll show it to your followers, but you also need them to show the video to people that don't follow you so that you get more engagement, so that you get new people to your platform. And YouTube doesn't do as much of it as, the reason TikTok and Instagram are so popular is because 90% of your views come from people that don't follow you, right? And so that's personally why I did not like Rumble. But, they are a public company. They are, they do have, let's say the stock is trading currently at $8.56 after going up $1 and some change. So they jumped 16% on the day. But it looks like they're going to partner with Perplexity AI, right? Which is basically like an alternative to OpenAI. It's not publicly traded, but basically, if they're going to incorporate AI into their platform, Google hasn't put Gemini into its YouTube platform yet, so it could definitely, maybe bring some people over. But the truth is, Rumble needs to advertise, right? They need to. This is the truth with Rumble. Rumble, people might know a little bit about Rumble, but the parts they know about Rumble are, that it's a niche platform, that people that say extreme things are on the platform, and that's what they know about it. Whereas, you have to highlight what does Rumble do better than something else. Well, if you got AI on your platform, that's something that you can do better than other people, right? So, my opinion, like I say, it's not like Rumble's not a buy for me. Not financial advice, obviously, but it did jump 16%. And it does show that. So, say you're selling a covered call, right? Covered calls every week. You buy 100 shares and you sell a covered call. 10% out of the money, right? So, say this thing was sitting at $7. You sell a covered call for $7.70, and you get, $15 or whatever to do that covered call every week. And 10 or $15 to do that covered call every week. And, you continue to build like that over a year, you can do pretty well, right, on something like that. Not financial advice. But then you get something like this where it jumps 16% and you end up having to sell your stock for that 10% gain. And, you will take a 10% gain on every week, no problem, right? So these are one of the stocks that it's like, okay, we might sell a covered call, but to me, this is not something that I would be messing with. Simply because they are losing too much money for me, right? So I like to trade companies that actually make money. So this would not be what I would be messing with. But it did jump 16%. So you feel like, so you find the reason that jumped 16%, and can it make it more competitive in the market, actually become a profitable company? Possibly, like I say, but I personally am not investing in Rumble. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should you invest in Rumble? Is it something that's going to pop even more? You know, is it $8.56? Is it going to 16? Is it going to 20? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, let's see. All right, so in life coaching today, we got Hank. Hank's 29 years old and followed the Dave Ramsey plan. Paid off $60,000 in student loans. But instead of feeling and celebrating, instead of feeling good and celebrating, he feels lost because getting out of debt had become his purpose for years, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but student loans are definitely a part of my life, and you know, they're probably always going to be a part of my life, right? But the 60K, you know, that's a little bit above that average right now. Average, I think, is like 40K. So he had a little bit more than average, but he definitely sacrificed to pay off these student loans, right? So what do we do for Hank, right? So Hank's out of debt, right? So now he can, you know, if you follow the Dave Ramsey plan, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to be saving for the down payment of a house, right? Well, Hank's 29 years old. He's not married and doesn't have a girlfriend. So obviously, we got to work on the relationship part. So we're going to get him on the apps, and we're going to get him trying to find someone that, you know, he can love forever, right? So number one. Number two, you know, you got to refocus your mindset, your skill set, and your habits, right? So right now he's been, you know, thinking about, you know, just paying off the student loans and putting as much as he can so he can continue to live that lifestyle and start investing that money. Or he can let up on the lifestyle a little bit and invest a little bit less, right? So the standard is 15% of his income going into investing. If at 29 years old, like I say, you know, you start thinking about other things. You start thinking about owning a home. You start thinking about raising a family, you know, that kind of thing. So we just talked about covered calls, stuff like that. You know, most people just put their money in index funds and let it be. Hank having plenty of time on his hands, you know, I would recommend learning the stock market, learning that new skill. So we wake up early, we read for 10 to 20 minutes a day on a skill we're trying to learn, right? So this would be one of the skills I try to, number one, teach Hank, but also number one, have Hank learn, is that because investing is how you get out of the rat race, truthfully, right? So he's got relationship and then investing, and then the last thing is, you know, you gotta find something else that defines you, something else that you enjoy in life, right? Something that gives you joy, whether it be movies, whether it be exercising. You know, so I've had friends before that, you know, started doing marathons, you know, stuff like that, right? So we're going to rediscover his direction, right? We're going to figure out something else for him to do, not to worry about debt, right? So if he wants to stay debt-free forever, it's perfect to do that. Nothing wrong with doing that. And he's going to have a way that he lives doing that, right? So let me know what you guys think we should do with Hank. He's paid off all his debt. He's debt-free. 29 years old, no girlfriend. What would you do to help Hank. Right. All right. So, and on to the last thing. You know, we got to do a quote of the day. Always do a quote of the day. And it says, a champion is someone who just didn't give up when they wanted to. A champion is someone who didn't give up when they wanted to, right? So this is talking about, you know, people that are professionals, right? And they go and they win championships and stuff like that. Not only are they, I call them the genetic exceptions. They're all big, strong, fast, smart. Some of them are smart, you know, whatever. But they also went to a breaking point with their body and pushed their body to a limit that others can't do, right? It's almost like you have an ability to be in pain, right? Is what I call it. But everyone fails at something, right? You know, the first time you hit a tee in t-ball, you don't hit a home run, right? No, you know, nobody does that. Matter of fact, you know, I'm teaching my daughter, you know, right now to play golf, right, at 16 months old, and you know, sometimes she'll hold the club upside down, right? So even stuff like that, right? Like, you know, when you first start, you're not going to be the champion, right? You're not going to be a champion at something when you first start. But guess what? She's hitting the crap out of the ball at 16 months old, and you know, to me that makes her exceptional for her age, right? So, but that being said, when things get tough, you have to lean on, you know, I always say that if you're going through hell, you don't stop in the middle, right? Like, you don't stop and just stay in hell. You keep going until you get out of hell, right? So I like that one a little bit better than this one. But to become a champion, you definitely have to go through hell to get there and get out. What do you guys think about this quote? I'm Nate, and I'm a life coach. You're looking to set up your life in a way where you become a champion, where you find a way to become financially free, stuff like that, then hit me up for life coaching. Make sure you shop at instacell.com, pick up a cool inspirational t-shirt, and pick up my wife's book, London and the Googly Goo, and we'll see you in the next piece.